Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever in the world it is that you are. Welcome once more to another live stream of Alexandra Mayer's Live. And today we will continue with our page by page reading of the Bible. And today's a relatively special day. Well, every day's a special day, but today's very special when it comes to this page by page reading of the modern English version of the Bible, because today is the final day of the book of Genesis. We made it. We made it all the way to Genesis 50, the burial of Jacob. That is what we will be reading and what I will be providing some commentary on today. And we're not going to skip any days. Tomorrow, we're going to go ahead and get into Exodus 1, but I'm thinking it'll probably be on Wednesday that we go ahead and do what I promised, an audiobook listening party. And I'll do it via video of the book of Exodus. I think that would be so much fun to do. Hopefully, we can get through it all in one day. I think it'll be a very interesting listen and quite the way to conclude the book of Genesis, because so much within the book of Exodus does relate back to the book of Genesis. Another biblical supplement that I do want to go into at some point is the book of the Egyptians. That is a bit of esoteric knowledge that is not included really within the Bible, but it's something that somebody mentioned to me. I'm going to review it first, of course. But I think that would be interesting to delve into, because as we go through this page by page reading of the modern English version of the Bible, I do want to inject some other material as well that isn't included in today's version of the Bible, just so that we get a broader perspective of everything the Bible in actuality is. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into Genesis 50. I do want to say to everyone who's been along with me for this ride, thank you so much for listening and joining me on this biblical journey that I'm currently on. Um, it's the right time of my life to be doing this. Um, those of you who follow me intensely, you know I'm always involved in a myriad of very interesting topics. And one thing that I am taking away from the book of Genesis is that the Bible and Christianity as a whole is about the entire spectrum of human emotion, what it is to be human, and the human experience. It's not only about the good things, it's about the bad things too, the darkness, the evil, the hate, all those elements, all that negativity is still the same coin as the positivity, as the love, as the happiness, as the elation that we feel at times as a human. But how will we know the good without the bad, the good without the evil, or the evil without the good? We wouldn't. So you kind of got to embrace it all, but you got to find that internal balance within as you embrace it all. So let's go ahead and get started. The burial of Jacob, Genesis 50. Then Joseph fell on his father's face and wept over him and kissed him. Joseph commanded his servants, the physicians, to embalm his father. So the physicians embalmed Israel. 40 days were required for him, for such is the time required for those who are embalmed. Then the Egyptians mourned for him 70 days. When the days of his mourning were past, Joseph spoke to the household of Pharaoh, saying, If now I have found favor in your eyes, speak to Pharaoh, saying, My father made me swear, saying, I am about to die. Bury me in the tomb which I dug for myself in the land of Canaan. Now, therefore, please let me go up and bury my father, and then I will return." Pharaoh said, "Go up and bury your father, as he made you swear to do." I really like this Pharaoh that is Joseph's employer, aka master, because every step of the way of Joseph's journey, from when he got out of prison to him reconnecting with his brothers and then later his father, the Pharaoh has really been supportive of him. And it was within the Pharaoh's power to say, "No, you can't bury your father in his resting place because the customs and the culture of Egypt." But he respected the Hebrew culture, and that speaks volumes. I really wish more people within faiths outside of Christianity would be a bit more respectful to Christianity. I think more Christians actually need to be a bit more respectful to other faiths. It's two sides of the same coin, but this is a very, Genesis 50, in my opinion, is a very good example of being tolerant of other cultures and respectful to other cultures. So let's continue. Joseph went up to bury his father, and all the servants of Pharaoh went up with him too, the elders of his household and the elders of the land of Egypt. All the house of Joseph and his brothers and his father's household. They left only their little ones and their flocks and their herds in the land of Goshen. Both the chariots and horsemen also went up with him. It was a very great company. In other words, it was a bunch of people who went to go see the final burial of Jacob, aka Israel. When they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond the Jordan, they mourned with a great and very sorrowful lamentation. He observed 7 days of mourning for his father. When the inhabitants of the land, the Canaanites, saw the mourning at the threshing floor of Atad, they said, "This is a grievous mourning for the Egyptians." Therefore, the place was called Abel Mizraim, which is beyond the Jordan. So his sons did with him just as he had commanded them. For his sons carried him into the land of Canaan and buried him in the cave of the field of Machpelah near Mamre, which Abraham bought with the field as a burial site from Ephron the Hittite. After he had buried his father, Joseph returned to Egypt, he and his brothers and all who went up with him to bury his father. Joseph reassures his brothers. When Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, "Perhaps Joseph will hate us and will certainly pay us back for all the wrong we did to him." So they're worried that now that the father's gone, Joseph is going to be like, "Haha, dad's gone. He can't see me. Now I'm really going to get you guys for selling me into Egypt as a slave." Oh, they should be afraid because what they did was horrible, but it did work out to all their favor in the end, which is a blessing. Some people might call it irony. So they went. So they sent a message to Joseph saying, "Your father gave this command before he died. Say to Joseph, I beg you, forgive the transgressions of your brothers and their sin, for they did evil to you. Now please forgive the transgressions of the servants of the God of your father." And Joseph wept when they spoke to him. Then his brothers also went and fell down before his face and said, "We are your servants." So in other words, they're saying, "Please don't kill us," because Joseph had the power to do so. Absolutely, he did. Joseph said to them, "Do not be afraid, For am I in the place of God? But as for you, you intended to harm me. But God intended it for good, in order to bring it about as it is this day, to save many lives. So now, do not fear. I will provide for you and your little ones. So he comforted them and spoke kindly to them. So, in other words, Joseph says to his brothers, yeah, you guys were a bunch of jerks, but everything happened for a reason, and we're all better off today. And that's the story. So, Genesis 50, this particular section, Joseph reassures his brothers, is a very good lesson for siblings who have issues with one another. Because sometimes disagreements and fights are meant to happen for the greater good. Sometimes you just need time apart from one another, because time does heal old wounds sometimes. Usually. Not all the time, but usually. So let's continue. The death of Joseph. Joseph stayed in Egypt and his father's household, and Joseph lived 110 years. Joseph saw Ephraim's children to the third generation. Also the children of Machir, the son of Manasseh, were brought up on Joseph's knees. Joseph said to his brothers, I am about to die. God surely come to you and bring you out of this land, to the land of which he swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. Then Joseph made the sons of Israel swear, saying, God will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones from here. So Joseph died at the age of 110 years old, and they embalmed him, and he was put in a coffin in Egypt. So that's the end of Genesis. Genesis ends with the death of Joseph. And Joseph lived a very good life, a very interesting life when you think about it. A very interesting life. He learned a lot of spiritual lessons. He learned more than I would say most biblical figures that we have touched on so far about the element of forgiveness, because he was done wrong quite a bit. Oh, quite a bit by his brothers, by the wife of his first master after he was sold into slavery. He finally was treated right by the king, the Pharaoh of Egypt. And at the end, he got to be reunited with his father, which was good. That was really nice. So, hey Gary, yeah, you made it at the end. Today was a relatively short reading and commentary, but today is the final day of the book of Genesis. 50 chapters are in the book of Genesis. Tomorrow, we will be going into Exodus. And as I was saying, I'm thinking Wednesday will be the day that we do the audio listening party of the book of Exodus. That's what we'll do. And I'll be on video that day. It'll be a live stream. So thank you, everyone, for joining me for the book of Genesis. What I might do is compile all these recordings from the book of Genesis into one long video file. I think that might be a good idea. And I'm just looking forward to getting into the book of Exodus. I mean, I don't know how long it's going to take, but the plan is to go through the entire Bible. That's the plan. So I think we'll make it. Anyway, have a great day, everyone. Take care. And I will see you guys tomorrow, or talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.